welcome to today's episode of Strong Men, Strong Marriages, how to be a hero to your wife and kids. And I'm going to include one of my favorite exercises that I give my clients. It's one you're going to be able to do, start implementing today, even right here on this episode. So I want to start with the idea of the action hero. Who is the action hero? So for you, just think about who is your favorite action or your favorite sports hero. So for me, I've got quite a few. Like Michael Jordan comes to mind as a sports hero, but as like a movie action figure, I had to think about Rocky, and my favorite Rocky movie is for sure Rocky 3. So in Rocky 3, right, he's got a clear mission. So he's beat Apollo Creed. He went the distance with Apollo Creed, then he beat him. Now he's kind of on top, and things are going well. And then his coach dies, and he gets beat by this guy, Clubber Lang. He's played by Mr. T. If you have not seen this movie, go see it right now. I think it's on Netflix even right now. But anyway, so he loses to him, and then he has this clear vision and mission in mind. I have to go and beat this guy. I have to go get my title back. I have to go, fight this guy and become the stronger, better version of me. Okay. So the thing that I really admire about Rocky throughout all the Rocky movies, right, is, he keeps fighting no matter how many times he gets knocked down, right? He just keeps on going. Even after losing to Clubber Lang, he comes back and fights him again, even though he's scared, right? Even though he might lose, right? He might get hurt. Okay? He goes anyway. So when we think about this hero, right, who they are, they're confident, they're able to get through these hard things. They have, self-esteem, self-worth. And to me, self-worth, it's made up of three main elements. So one of those is feeling and knowing your own worth and potential, right? So Rocky, right, he kind of goes through these ups and downs. He comes, and you'll see this in most movies. So the hero, right, we're using Rocky here, he loses, and so he loses that self-confidence, and it takes a guide, right? Apollo Creed comes in and trains him and gets him back, reminds him of his value, reminds him of his worth, reminds him of his potential. And then he starts feeling that again, right? And he goes in ready to do this fight. He's more trained, he's stronger than he was before. But first, he had to get a good sense of it, knowing his worth and potential. Because for a long time, he wasn't even fighting at all, because he didn't have that. He didn't have a clear understanding or remembrance of his worth and potential. Because we all have it, and a lot of times we forget it. To me, basing that on my worth and value as a son of God, that's the biggest thing. But you want to base it in something that's not going to move, right? Not something that's based on comparison to other people. Okay, your worth as a human doesn't change no matter what you do or don't do. But you also have this amazing potential that can be unlocked as you work towards it. Okay, the other part is being a man of your word. That builds up your sense of self-esteem and self-worth. When you commit to something, you follow through with it, even if you get knocked down, right? So with Rocky, he goes and he fights him and he gets knocked down, he gets beat up. In the fight itself, he gets beat up, but he keeps coming back, right? Because he said he would, because he said he'd show up and do his best. So as you become more of a man of your word, when your word becomes your bond, you have much more self-esteem, much more self-confidence. When you break promises to yourself and others, you're shifty, right? You're not strong. You're not in integrity. If a building, when it's in integrity, it means it's built on a solid foundation, that the angles are right, that it's not going to fall down. So when we tell the truth, our spirit and body and all of that, it's in alignment, and so we're strong. When we start telling lies, that starts to break. We get out of alignment, we're not strong anymore. So being a man of your word. The last part of really having this unshakable sense of self-esteem and being a real hero is being a man on a mission. So we're talking about Rocky here, this mission to beat Clubber Lang, to defend his title, to win his title back, right? He was focused on that. He wanted that. So when you have an unshakable sense of self, when you have unshakable, unbreakable self-esteem, when you have these three things, you feel and know your own worth, and you're working towards your potential. You're a man of your word, and you're a man on your mission. Look, you feel amazing. You have unshakable self-esteem. You feel strong and confident. And when you have that, you are extremely attractive to your wife and others, to your kids, to all the people around you. Because you know your worth. You're working towards your potential. You're a man of your word. You're a man on a mission. You know where you're going in your life. It's amazing. You feel great. You're ahead of 99.99% of men out there. Okay? So your action story is a little bit different. Okay. You may not have to save the world like why am I blanking on this? Like in Mission Impossible or James Bond, right? Trying to save the world from spies or whatever, or defeat a Clubber Lang or Ivan Drago or whatever. Um, might not be that, but you do have a mission to accomplish. Absolutely, you do, and it's far more meaningful and important even. And that mission is to be the absolute best man that you can be. That's your mission. To be the best husband that you can be, the best father that you can be. That's your mission. To be outstanding at your work, whatever you've chosen as your field of work, to be outstanding in that. Sometimes it takes time to find what that is, but to find that thing and really that you can excel in, that really matches where you are, or even no matter where you're at, being a man of your word and showing up and being great at what you're doing, even if you're still on your way to finding that best fit. So that's your mission, right? And on the way, you have opponents that you need to defeat. Okay, you have some beasts, some some Clubber Langs to beat yourself. One of those is self-doubt, right? So forgetting your worth and potential, lacking integrity, not keeping your promises, forgetting your purpose, or not even having a clear purpose for your life, right? You've got to defeat that. That's one of the big beasts you've got to defeat. We're talking about that today. Another beast you got to defeat, another opponent, is this poor mental and emotional control. If you find yourself saying stuff like, "Oh, that made me so mad," or "You got me so mad," or people around you say you lose your temper a lot. Okay, you don't have good emotional strength if that's going on for you a lot. Also, if you're down on yourself a lot, if you're anxious a lot, fearful, right? You don't have good mental and emotional strength right now, and that's fine. Like that's where you're at. It's fine. Like we all have to start somewhere, but just know if you're feeling anxious and fearful and angry and you don't want to feel those things, you need to strengthen your mental and emotional game. Another beast you got to defeat: poor communication, unproductive conflict, right? If you feel like you just can't get things through to your wife, you don't understand where she's coming from, she does not understand where you are coming from, you have these conflicts you can't seem to solve, they just make things worse. Okay, if you can't consistently turn conflicts into more connection, you've got some work to do. Okay, you've got some strength to build there. Another opponent, another beast: intimacy issues. Okay, if your sex life isn't how you'd like it to be, right, you've got some strength building to do there. Another big element of this can be, attraction to other women outside of your marriage. Maybe you've even acted on that, or maybe your thoughts are there a lot. Okay, a lot of us deal with that, and it's something we have to deal with all the time, and something that if we don't have that in good check right now, we need to build strength there, and that's okay, right? We got to recognize where we're at so we can get where we want to be. Also, another beast to defeat, another opponent we have is time. So we don't prioritize things right. We spend too much time at work and not enough time with our family. Or we get stuck in a rut where we just do the same things over and over instead of spending some time creating and thinking about the kind of events we want for our life and our family. Okay, so those are the things that we are on a mission to defeat, right? So that we can become this hero to our wife and our kids. But really, it starts with being this man on a mission, making it clear what we want to accomplish. So every day we're facing down these demons, these beasts, right? But we have to know where we're going, right? And sometimes I like to think of an analogy of like when you get married, you're sort of in this honeymoon phase, like the sun's shining, and then all of a sudden you walk into this forest, right? This dark and scary forest, okay? And in here, this is where these beasts come up, self-doubt, poor communication, lack of intimacy, time problems, okay? And so your job here is to defeat those. But you also want to know what's on the other side of that. So that's what this mission statement's about. Like, where am I even going? Like, where's the end of this forest? Okay, that's what this is about. Becoming a man on a mission. You got to have a clear game plan and a clear destination. Right? Because when you are that, when you know where you're going in your life. The other thing, I was just talking with somebody today, is that goal, that who you want to be, needs to be outside of just your wife, right? When we make everything about our wife, especially after we've done something that's problematic, like infidelity, and we tell our wife, oh, I'll do anything for you. I'm so sorry. I'm going to change just for you, just for you. Our wife gets concerned about that because she says, well, if I come back to you, then you're going to just go back to your old ways because all you're doing this for is for me to come back or to, give you more attention or affection or appreciation, right? So your focus needs to be outside of just your wife. Okay, you need to be wanting to become this man, not just for her, for you. If you believe in God, for your kids, for the world, right? Something bigger than just her. Has to be that for you and for her. Because if it's all on her too, it puts undue pressure on her to try to make you feel good all the time by telling you how great you are, right? But when you're hooked, when you're focused on something outside of that, something bigger than that, this man that you want to be, okay? She can get behind that. She wants to be with that. You feel better, okay? Trust me on this. So nothing's a better example to your kids, right? When you know where you're going in your life, that is such a good example to your kids. They're going to look at that and say, man, I want to be like that. I want to know where I'm going. I want to be a man of my word. I want to be, you know, marry someone like that, right? So here's the question, fellas. What kind of man do you want to be? Think about that. What kind of man do you want to be? What kind of hero do you want to be to your wife and your kids? And how are you going to get clear on that? Because here's the thing, if you do not have a clear destination in your life, you will not end up where you want to be. You're going to end up stuck in that forest. You're going to end up getting beat up by those beasts, or you're going to end up someplace you didn't even mean to go, right? This happens with a lot of guys I work with, right? Where they will focus a lot on work, think that's where all the glory is going to come from, and I make money and that's how I provide for my family. Then it turns out, yeah, they've got a great job, but their family's a wreck. Okay, so you've got to be prioritizing, right? So here's where we enter what I call the personal mission statement. This is one of the big things I have my clients work on with me, is this idea, okay? So your personal mission statement, it's a clear statement of the type of man that you want to be. This is the destination that you're trying to get to every day. This is the other side of the forest. This is that guiding star, that North Star that's going to help you know if you're going the right direction. Stephen Covey in his book talks about 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, talks about like flying on an airplane. So an airplane, so I live in California. Let's say I'm trying to fly from California to London, right? So if I'm making that flight, actually that plane is off course most of the time, okay? But it knows where it's trying to go, right? It knows it's trying to go to London, and it makes just these tiny adjustments all along the way so that eventually it does reach the right place, okay? Pretty incredible when you think about it. But here's the thing. So your life is like this. You're on a pretty long journey, okay? And you need to know where in the world you're going, right? Because if you don't, who knows where you're going to end up? And it hardly matters, right? If you don't know where you're going, how do you even know if you're doing a good job or not, or if you're going the right direction or not? You don't. Okay, you've got to plan this destination. You have to. So again, Stephen Covey, a lot of this comes from his book, the personal mission statement. It's one of the habits is putting first things first. So he talks about roles and goals. So what are your roles that you have in your life, and what do you want to accomplish in each of those goals? Okay. So think about it. What are your roles? Okay. And not only what do you want to accomplish, but who do you want to be? To me, that's even the better question. Who do you want to be in each of those roles? What kind of person do you want to be as a husband, as a father, as a son of God, right? Who do you want to be? How do you want to show up? So you want to think about these roles, and then you want to prioritize them. Okay? Because here's the thing, like it may be important to you to be really good at basketball. Let's say it's not your profession, but you want to be good at it. It's a hobby that you want to be good at. If you start prioritizing that above your family, okay, maybe that is the kind of guy you want to be. in that case, like, don't be surprised if your wife and kids aren't super happy with you. But you know, you've chosen that, right? If you said, look, that's more important to me, then you can expect that, the other things might fall apart, and you need to be okay with that, right? You need to be okay with that. So that's why you need to prioritize. You put first things first, okay? And you work on those first. Focus from top to bottom, not from bottom to top. All right, so I told you I'd tell you my favorite exercise that I do with my clients. So here it is. So I want you to take a moment right now and imagine something. Now, if you're driving, maybe come back and do this later. But I would recommend closing your eyes if you can. Definitely don't do that if you're driving. But take some time to do this. This is a really powerful exercise. So I want you to, if you can, close your eyes and just imagine that you're walking through a field. Okay? And it's calm, it's quiet, sunny outside. And as you're coming up, you see a group of people standing around. And they seem to be surrounding something. And then you sort of notice they're all dressed in black. And you see you're at a funeral. Yeah, as you get closer, you start to recognize some of the people there. You're like, I wonder if this is someone I know. And once you get up close, you realize, hey, like, this is my funeral. That's my picture up there. Like, what's going on here? But imagine you're kind of watching over your funeral, right? If you're a spiritual person or believe in God, imagine your spirit's there kind of watching this. And now, you kind of take a seat in the back, and your wife stands up, and she's going to walk up to that stage right now, and she's going to say a few words. So what kind of feelings coming up for you as you think about that? Okay? If you're feeling like she's going to say really kind things, you're probably on a good track. If you feel like she's probably not, or maybe she's not even going to show up, or maybe she's throwing a party, right? Okay, you know that maybe things are a little bit off there. Okay, but what I want you to think about is, what do you want her to say? When she stands up there and she talks about what kind of husband you were, what do you want her to say about you? What do you want her to remember about you? Really put some time and thought into that. Okay? What kind of guy do you want to be? What do you want people to be saying about you when you pass away? Okay? So now, picture the rest of the people getting up, right? Your kids, each of your kids. What do you want them to be saying about you? Then your work, what do you want them to be saying about you? Your clients and your coworkers. Okay? What about someone from your church or from your community? Okay? What about your friends, your other family, extended family, right? So imagine now, you've watched this funeral, and people have said what you wanted them to say, right? This is you envisioning. This is creating the destination, right? This is where you want to go with your life. What you want people to be saying about you at your funeral, right? Now imagine you go up and you meet God. Okay? What does God say to you? Who are you when you meet God? What kind of man are you? Really put some time into this and think about it. Okay? So that's the exercise, and I love it. It is powerful. It will help you really get a clear destination for where you're trying to go in your life. Okay? So I want to share with you my basic mission statement, just so you can get a sense of sort of how to do it. So for me, I put God first. To me, that's who I am. I put God first in my life, God and Jesus, trying to follow them. They're my sort of guiding star above everything else. Okay. So to me, that means being a man of my word, trying to be a little bit more like Jesus every day. If I have to summarize it into a couple words, it's to be strong and loving, and to feel and share God's love. Right? That's kind of what it boils down to for me. Next up is myself, and this is kind of a recent adjustment, but I've realized that, for me to really take care of the people around me, I need to take care of myself actually first. And what does that mean, take care of myself first? It means that I maintain my physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, and sexual health, and I build my strength in those areas. so that I can then serve others the best I can. Okay? So I can feel love and joy in my life, feel and share God's love, like I said. Okay? Because when I'm caring for myself in those ways, now my cup is full, right? My cup is full with love from God. My cup is full as far as having good energy because I'm taking care of myself physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, right? I'm, and then I'm able to go out and serve much better. So next is my wife. And when I consolidate it down into the most important things, for me, it's to be a kind and loving, equal partner in my marriage with her. Okay? With the kids, to be a kind and loving guide in their lives. The thing I like about these, right, they're simple and they let me kind of run my behaviors through a filter. So I can say, okay, listen, today in my interactions with my wife, was I kind? Was I loving? Was I an equal partner? Did I respect her? Or did I, think she was above me or below me? Or did I see her as equal? Okay. So that helps me judge that with my kids. Was I kind? Was I loving? Was I a guide to them today? How did I mess up? Right. With my friends and family, be thoughtful, loving, considerate, and fun. So again, I can look back and say, was I those things today? Or if I'm going to do something, am I those things? With my work, to inspire men and people, there are some women listening to this too, and so to inspire, in particularly men, to become the strongest and best versions of themselves and create strong marriages and families. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing here. In my church and community, to serve those around me to the best of my ability, having God guide my efforts. So these are kind of the global things, right? So then within this, you're going to be able to find little things to work on within this. So, this is general, and this is after a lot of reflection and consolidation. Like this started much longer, and that's pretty typical. I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do that. But then if you can consolidate it down, this just helps filter it. But when you first start it, it may be very long. I want to be this kind of husband. I want to make sure I'm taking the trash out and doing those things. Those are the little daily things that do absolutely need to be done. For me, the mission statement's more of, like I said, a filter, right? To ask yourself these questions. If I'm going to do this action, is that kind? Is it loving? Am I being a guide? Am I being thoughtful? Am I being considerate? Is this fun? Right? So that's just like a filter for each of those little things, because there's millions of little decisions every day. Okay? So another thing that I recommend is adding a visualization, right? So the more senses you add to this destination that you're going to, so these are words, right? I told you the words that I use, but I also have a visualization that I use. So it's better if you include more senses because that involves more of your brain. So sight, sounds, smells, tastes, all that. So what I imagine is my youngest son getting married at the temple. So the temple in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, it's a very important place. If you're able to go inside there, it means that you are living a life that is in integrity at a high level. So to me, if we were all there, that would be great. It would mean we were, living principles consistent with what God wants, to me. So being there would be great. I also understand too that even if we don't all get there or don't all decide to get there, like that doesn't mean that I'm a failure. It doesn't mean my kids are a failure, but that's just what I envision as, a visualization of where I want us to be, right? So I just picture this. I picture us there. I picture the pictures we're going to take, the drinks we're going to drink, the music we're going to have, the dances we're going to do. I'm smiling right now as I'm just kind of picturing it. And every morning I do this, and it's fun. It helps me visualize where I'm trying to go. Okay. So every morning I recommend doing this. You go through your mission statement, you read through it, and you do this visualization. Where do I want to be? What's that destination? Make it clear. Make it as real as you can. Smell it, touch it, taste it. Okay. This sets your destination. This says, I'm going to London, right? This is your flight plan. So then you go through the day, right? And you're trying to do this and you're, running your filters. Was that kind? Was that loving? Was it not? Oh, I'm sorry. So then each night you make a review. Okay. where did I go off course today? Where was I not kind? Where was I not loving? Right? What corrections do I need to make? Because, like I said, remember, a plane's off course most of the time. It's these little corrections. So each day, you're just going to make these little corrections. A lot of days after I do this at night, I go walk into one of my kids' rooms. I'm like, hey, I'm sorry I yelled at you today, or just the other day I was like, sorry. So yeah, so yesterday or 2 days ago, I was like, sorry I got so mad that you beat me at Smash Brothers. Right? I really did get mad. So that's not kind. That's not loving. So I needed to go apologize for that. Or with my wife, hey, did I snap at you today? Was I kind of in that mosquito mode, trying to manipulate you or get attention from you or whatever, right? Another set of questions that are outstanding that I just got from a lady named Stacy Smith in a business training I've been going through is just asking yourself what worked, what did not work, and what will I do differently. Okay? So if you can run through that for each of the people and areas of your life, every day. So I'm trying to do this close to every day. I'm doing it for sure every week. I'm kind of in the process of implementing this a little bit more right now. But I definitely like it when I do it. So I'm in the process of implementing it more. So, just saying what worked today with my wife. Well, I was kind. We sat together and we did stuff with the kids together. What didn't work? Well, we didn't really sit down and chat, just the two of us very much. What will I do differently? Well, tomorrow let's really choose a time to sit down and talk, right? That's literally what I'm thinking about for this very day. So it's just powerful, right? What worked, what didn't work, what will I do differently? All right. So to review for today, to be a hero, you have to have a mission, right? What kind of movie would it be if you went to it and the hero didn't know what the heck they were doing? There was no problem to solve. They weren't going anywhere, right? You wouldn't want to watch that movie, right? So you need to have a mission. Where are you trying to go? Where are you trying to go? So you get to choose that mission. That's the cool thing. You get to choose the destination. You get to figure it out. It's a lot of responsibility, but it's also very empowering. Okay? So take the time to choose it. Take the time to really set that destination. Review it and visualize it in the morning so you know where you're going. You know you're going to London, right? You know where you're trying to go. Then each night, review and correct course. Click through, use those questions. What worked, what didn't work, what will I do differently? All right, man, this is one of the most powerful things you can do for yourself. Take the time to do it. Stay strong, and I'll see you next episode.